A couple weeks ago, I had something happen to me that I'd never had to deal with as an Uber driver. I had someone physically not be too kind to me, to put it in YouTube terms. Now, thankfully, the situation wasn't that bad, just a drunk guy who thought my hair was licorice and decided to yoink on it a bunch. And that ride, thankfully, wasn't too long, so I didn't have to deal with much, but it was very scary and made me understand that I needed to prioritize my safety more as an Uber driver. So with that in mind, I wanted to share with you all some tips and tricks to ensure your safety as an Uber driver and some lessons that I learned myself. Hey everyone, it's Kian for the Rideshare Guy, pronounced Kian, and I know that some people are going to see the different versions of what physical forms of assault actually is, and people are going to have different definitions for it. I'm going by the definition of what Uber literally describes assault as, and also what the law describes as assault. So just keep in mind, I don't need the comments saying that's nothing. I've gone through war in Vietnam back in the 70s. Like, I get it. It wasn't that big a deal. That's why I said it wasn't that dramatic. But at the end of the day, that situation could have been much worse too. I got lucky that it didn't get any worse, but some other people are not so lucky. So with that in mind, let's talk safety. So the first tip that I would suggest, and I know that this is probably not all that exciting of a tip, but it's there and it's valuable information, is don't ignore Uber's built-in safety features. They are there for you and they're there for a reason. Now, I know for some people those safety features are nothing but an annoyance when you have a pause in the ride, but it's always important to acknowledge the fact that, one, it is indeed there, and two, the inner mechanisms of what it's meant to do to actually help you. If you're in a situation and you feel that uncomfortable to the point where you even have to consider it, use it. It's there for you. And even if you don't have to use the safety features mid-ride, you are able, as a reminder, to anonymously report to Uber, and they will generally have a phone call with you and talk to you about the situation as to what actually went down during your ride, if anything physically escalated like that. In my case, I had an Uber rep call me maybe 15 minutes after I made the report against the incident that happened in my vehicle. They talked me through it, they asked me for all the details, and overall the situation was very easily resolved. And my hope was not necessarily that I was super upset at those guys. I just didn't want them to hurt anybody else because I knew that their night was not done. They were likely going to continue going throughout the night, drinking, and probably causing even more problems. Tip number 2 that I have is be well prepared and equipped for intoxicated passengers in general. So I'm talking like vomit bags, door locks, window locks, whatever you're gonna need to ensure both their safety and, of course, yours. Now, I always have vomit bags in my car somewhere. It's something that I've talked about in a previous video, and if there's ever a situation where somebody thinks they're gonna throw up, I can just scream, blue bag, blue bag, blue bag, and they generally figure out what that means pretty quickly. As a matter of fact, I've only ever had someone need to use the bag once, and it was actually a couple of weeks ago, not the same ride that I talked about previously. It was just a different instance of somebody needing to throw up, and thank God they actually used the bag and there was no mess in my car. Now, you have to be careful when it comes to door locks. Window locks, you should be fine with locking your own windows and not allowing the passengers to adjust them, because if they need the windows rolled down, they can just ask you. It's not that big a deal. For door locks, you want to be a little more careful for the child locks, because that may make your passengers feel very uncomfortable and very trapped. So I would say only use the child locks in the case of having a vehicle where you're afraid that your passengers are going to open the door way too easily. So in my example, I drive a Tesla Model 3, and anyone who knows Teslas knows that Teslas have to be the most complex fucking cars in the world, and they always have to have the weird buttons everywhere in the car. They can never make things easy for the drivers or the passengers when it comes to how you open the doors. So I do generally keep the child locks either on, or I will let people know to just not push any buttons, and if they need any help with opening something, just ask me. Tip number 3 that I have, and I know this one's gonna be a little bit corny, but seriously, you do need to take it into consideration. Make sure your passengers are buckled in, man. I know it sounds so overdone, like, yes, I get it, you're driving grown adults around, at least I hope you're driving grown adults around, so why do you have to worry about monitoring them and babying them with something as simple as just making sure they're buckled in? That should be their choice. And like, I partially agree, but remember a couple things. Number one, if you get pulled over and they're not buckled in, like on purpose, that's going to be on you at the end of the day. You will still be the one that takes responsibility for that because you're the one that's driving. And also, in my situation, if my passengers, the drunk passenger especially, had been buckled in, I wouldn't have had to worry about getting assaulted or just any of the nonsense that I had to deal with that ride in general. And trust me, there was a lot.
Bro.
Oh, that's my hair. That's my hair. Hey, can I have my hair back?
And if any of your passengers ever give you an issue about buckling up, you have full right to press the Uber safety feature button during the ride, or just cancel the ride altogether if they are actually refusing to buckle their seatbelts for an Uber ride. Because despite the fact that obviously it's so overdramatic to just not buckle up when you're in someone else's vehicle, it's also just really disrespectful and rude. Like, it's not your car in the first place. It shouldn't be that big a deal to just buckle your seatbelt for the 10-minute ride. Sarah. I bet you anything there's some person named Sarah just like looking at the screen like, hey, what did I do? And number 4, and I would arguably say one of the most important things when it comes to not only safety, but just Uber in general, trust your gut. If something seems off and you just don't want to take a ride for whatever reason with that passenger or passengers, trust your gut. On the side of the ride, cancel the ride. It might seem off and they might be offended by it, but they're also likely never going to see you again. You want to be in a position where you're going to be able to take more rides throughout the rest of the night. Are you really going to risk your own safety just to not offend someone else in the moment? If somebody is making you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, you have every right and every tool that you'll need to unside the ride and move on with your shift. It does not matter. You do not need a strong reason because your safety comes first. So don't be like I was when I was just trying to keep the peace and just trying to get through the ride. I should have absolutely, the second anything got haywire like that with that drunk passenger, pulled over, canceled the ride, and kicked him out of my car. I should have done that. I didn't, and I quite literally paid a physical price for it. But those are my pieces of advice to help in terms of safety when it comes to driving for Uber. And I would like to know as well from you guys and your own personal experiences. Guys, please leave some constructive comments down below to help out fellow Uber drivers when it comes to safety, because it might seem like something so cliche, but it could be the difference between a safe, straightforward ride and, well, if it gets really bad, your last ride. And beyond everything else, you and your passengers deserve to feel safe when you're driving for Uber. But guys, I hope this advice was helpful. If it was, of course, make sure you leave a like on this video. Really helps us out at The Rideshare Guy, helps the algorithm tell the world that, yes, The Rideshare Guy is an amazing YouTube channel. Make sure you go check out the Rideshare Guy YouTube channel. And obviously for you as well, make sure you go check out our other content. Make sure you go check out other content from me, and make sure you're subscribed, ring that notification bell so you never miss a new video from the Rideshare Guy, especially from yours truly. And hey, if choices are ever really difficult for you when it comes to things like driving for Uber, or even just which rides to take, I get you, because cherry picking or like taking every single ride, there's a lot of questions when it comes to it. So if you are somebody that wants to figure that out more, check out my last video with the Rideshare Guy, where I talk about the differences in cherry picking and taking every single ride, and why it's actually not as simple of an answer as a lot of drivers may think. But guys, that's all from me today for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and stay cool.